Hi, I am Devi Abhirami, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, Dr. SNS Rajalakshmi College of Arts and Science. Today I am going to explain the topic from the test of hypothesis is chi-square test. In this I have explained the problems and with their solutions. Comes from the subject of discrete mathematics with probability and hypothesis testing. For chi-square test, the first problem is taken from an edutech company. Wants to check whether the student employment status is full-time employed, part-time employed, unemployed or student. This is based on the completed dropout. Okay. From this cohort of 600 learners, I have given the data. The completed student column total is 430, 170, whereas the row total is 150, 150, 150 and 150. They have given that we have to conduct a chi-square test of independence and we have to give the final results. Okay. So for that, first we have to define the hypothesis. There are two types of hypothesis. One is null hypothesis and other one is null alternate hypothesis. So the null hypothesis is employment status and the course outcome are independent. H1 is an alternate hypothesis. Employment status and the course outcome are not independent. So the degrees of freedom can be calculated by using the formula row minus 1 into column minus 1. So there are 4 rows in our problem. Here there are 4 rows. 1, 2, 3 and 4 rows. Columns are 1 and 2. So R minus 1 into C minus 1. 4 minus 1 into 2 minus 1 is 3. Critical value of chi-square is 7.815. We know the formula of chi-square test is row total into column total divided by grand total. Here the grand total they have given that the 600. So I am going to calculate it for each and every data. For that the full-time employed is column total is 150 and the row total, that is my formula is row total into column total by grand total. So 150 into 340 divided by 600, that is equal to 107.5. Similarly, for the second data, part-time unemployed employed is given as 1.7.5, whereas in the dropout is 150 into 170 divided by 600. So 42 minus 0.5, 42.5, 42.5 and 42.5. Chi-square formula is given in here. Chi-square is equal to O minus E the whole square by E. O is nothing but the observed frequency of the given data and E is nothing but the expected frequency of the given data. Okay. So first we have to subtract both the values and we have to square it and you have to divide by expected value. This is calculated by using this table. So observed value is 110 and the expected value is 107.5. So obviously our formula is O minus E. So 110 minus 107.5 the whole square divided by E. E is nothing but 107.5. If I subtract it and square it and divide it, we will get the value as 0.058. For full-time dropped out, we get 0.147. For part-time completed is 1.453. For part-time dropped is 3.676 and unemployed completed is 1.453. Unemployed dropped is 3.676. Student completed is 0.058 and the student dropped is 0.147. So this is how we have to calculate the chi-square value and the final result you have to sum all those observed minus expected square by expected value. If I square it, I will get the value as 10.668. Whereas my critical value is 7.8, which is very greater when compared to our table value. So we can reject the null hypothesis and we can accept the alternate hypothesis. Obviously, our alternate hypothesis is the student employment status is significantly affects the course completion rate in the edutech program. Okay. My third problem is a retail chain wants to test whether the proportion of customer who's purchased product X is the same across through the geographical regions. Okay, they have given the similar data and they have to ask us to calculate the chi-square data. So first we have to frame the hypothesis. First I have framed the hypothesis and I have calculated the degrees of freedom as 2 and the critical value is 5.11. Now I want to check whether my value is greater than the critical or lesser than the critical. If it is greater than, then we can accept the hypothesis. If it is less than, then we can reject the hypothesis. What I have already explained in the previous problem, that how does it This is how we have to calculate the O minus E square by E. So the final answer is 5.916917. When I compare to my chi-square value is very greater, that is 5.99. Here 5.91. Even the decimal is also we have to calculate it. If the calculated value is less than the critical value, then we have to obviously accept the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis tells that the significance level, there is no significant population between the customers. So the chi-square value is useful for comparing the data, and we can explain whether the data have accepted or rejected. Okay. I have given the problem below. You can solve it by using the same concept. Okay, here the Facebook ads, email, referral dropped, referral completed, some of the data were given. From this data also we have compared that the data is very greater. When greater, we can reject the hypothesis. So we can reject and accept the hypothesis only when the final result is greater or less than. The hypothesis test is very useful when compared to the other test to test the hypothesis whether it has rejected or accepted. Thank you.